Unexpectedly returning to the end of the world, Lin Qianhuan held 680 million lottery tickets and hoarded water and food, vowing to protect her brother who died tragically in the previous life, so that she would no longer have any regrets. But who would have thought that the Lingquan system was unexpectedly activated, and there was an incredibly mysterious world in the inconspicuous jade bracelet. Unlimited warehouse, wash Marrow Spirit Spring, fertile field, extinct Immortal Grass, Lin Qianhuan kills zombies, excavates crystal cores, and continuously unlocks the hidden functions of the Spirit Spring system, earning a lot of money. But who is this lazy man who can sleep in the zombie den? Why can't he get rid of a string of tomatoes on sticks? Well, for the sake of his extraordinary strength, let's barely raise him to be a bodyguard. Jiang Xing, be careful. Whose bodyguard is sleeping on the owner's bed? The two brothers of the Lin family expressed immense anger, thinking that they had found a cheap and useful bodyguard. Who would have thought that the bodyguard not only wanted delicious food, but also targeted their precious little sister? Zombies of the apocalypse plus hoarding of supplies plus space plus having CP+dual strength+abilities. Chapter 1. Lottery 1 680 million yuan. You are listening at novel full.audio. Lin Qianhuan, hurry up and open the door for me. I won 680 million yuan in the lottery after tax, and I dare to hide it from you. Look at me, I won't skin you. The sound of cursing mixed with knocking on the door startled the person who was sleeping. Lin Qianhuan opened her eyes in confusion, and when she saw the familiar and unfamiliar environment around her, she was slightly stunned. Isn't this the old-fashioned apartment she rented before the zombie outbreak? But isn't she already dead? Why does it appear here? Without much time to think, the screams and curses outside the door grew louder, and even the sound of prying locks could be heard. The already unstable anti-theft door was now on the verge of collapse. Dare to confront me? Forget how I hit you when I was a child. You thought your wings would become hard as you grew up. Can you ignore my discipline? You little slut, you're as cheap as your mother. Hurry up and give me the money for winning the lottery. Not a penny can be missing. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Lin Qianhuan's eyes instantly turned cold. Lin Fu, her father who was violent and alcoholic, haunted her lifelong nightmare. After the zombie outbreak, he forcibly occupied her house, took away all her survival supplies, and took advantage of her unpreparedness to bind her unconscious and sell her to a group of beasts. If it weren't for her awakening of her abilities, perhaps she would have really been buried in that tiger-wolf den. But why has Lin Fu been emphasizing the money for winning the lottery? She won the lottery more than a month before the end of the world. Thinking of this, Lin Qianhuan couldn't help but shrink her pupils. She hurriedly picked up her phone and widened her eyes in disbelief when she saw the date displayed on it. On January 26, 2024, there was just 1 month left until a large-scale outbreak of zombies occurred. She's reborn. Lin Qianhuan pinched her arm hard, and a sharp pain came, pulling her back from the edge of ecstasy. It's true, not a dream. She was truly reborn a month before the zombie outbreak, and that terrible disaster had not yet begun. Before I could be happy, the anti-theft door of the apartment couldn't hold on and was forcefully kicked open by Lin Fu. He burst in with crimson eyes, filled with a thirst for money. Hide, you hide for me again. Do you really think I can't do anything about you? Give up the money quickly, otherwise I'll have to beat you to death today. He held an axe in his hand, and the cold light reflected on Lin Qianhuan's delicate face, but did not stir up any waves. The anti-theft door fell to the ground, and a circle of onlookers stood outside the door. However, not a single person dared to step forward to stop the crazy Lin Fu. Only a few scattered people hid in the crowd and called the police. Lin Qianhuan's face remained unchanged, and she sat back on the sofa without any concern, provocatively meeting Lin Fu's gaze. What? Are you trying to kill me while holding an axe? Watching Lin Qianhuan's fearless attitude, Lin Fu's anger kept surging and he suddenly threw the axe in his hand. He aimed at Lin Qianhuan's head and had no intention of giving the other person a way out. Lin Qianhuan gently turned her head and cut a deep mark on the wall with the axe. After being stuck for a while, she fell to the ground with a clang. You unfilial daughter. I am your father, can I have you without me? If it weren't for me giving you a life, would you have won such a big lottery? Isn't it still your father's credit? Now I'll leave my words here and transfer all your money to me, otherwise you'll just wait and see what happens with your mother. Thinking of her mother who couldn't bear domestic violence and hanged herself, Lin Qianhuan suddenly sat up from the sofa, lifted her foot and kicked Lin Fu's heart, effortlessly kicking him to the ground. What do you think you are and dare to mention my mother in front of me? Her eyes were tinged with anger, and this kick used 10% of her strength. Unfortunately, she had not yet awakened her powers like in the previous life, and could not take Lin Fu's life with a single move. When Lin Qianhuan thought of the man in his previous life who had been cut off by his own knife and begged her in despair to let him go, she found it ridiculous. Bullying the soft and fearing the hard is indeed vividly portrayed in Lin Fu. The situation froze in an instant, and the people outside the door who were gathered in the excitement took a cold breath. They instinctively took a few steps back when looking at Lin Qianhuan. This little girl is really amazing. Lin Fu, I have other things to attend to. I'll spare your life for now. But it's best for you to roll away obediently, otherwise, it's not just this one kick that's so simple. Lin Qianhuan sneered and sat back on the sofa, opening the online shopping app. The battle today is really intense, and the police will definitely conduct routine investigations. She cannot drive to the market to purchase, but she cannot waste time waiting. It is still possible to purchase basic supplies online. In her previous life, although she had won the lottery, the zombies had already exploded before she had a chance to squander them, and all the money stored in the bank had turned into waste paper. After being reborn, this money is her survival reliance. As long as she reserves sufficient resources, she can avoid more risks. The onlookers were whispering, but Lin Qianhuan was not affected and carefully selected the goods she needed. Mineral water, cookies, toilet paper, instant noodles, canned food. Put all these things into Taobao's shopping cart, and before he could make the payment, he heard the hurried footsteps upstairs. Several police officers appeared outside the door and conducted a brief inquiry with the onlookers before taking Lin Qianhuan and Lin Fu to the police station. Lin Fu screamed in pain, covering his heart and cursing at Lin Qianhuan. Police comrade, this dead girl is trying to kill me. Why don't you arrest her quickly and sentence her to death? This stinky bitch dares to kill her own father, she should be shot. The police frowned in displeasure as they listened to Lin Fu's various obscene language. Are these words really coming from a father's mouth? Surprisingly, he insulted his own daughter so much and even carried an axe to cause trouble at his daughter's house. Shut up, do you think this is your home? What do you look like shouting and screaming? After investigation, Lin Fu found that you broke into a residential house to cause trouble. You will be detained for 15 days and fined 1,000 yuan. Lin Qianhuan chuckled and said, you deserve it. Lin Fu stood up in a fit of anger and sat back in his original position in frustration when he saw the police's stern gaze. Police officer, she is my daughter. Isn't her home my home? What kind of trespassing is this? Besides, hitting her was a lesson for my daughter as a father. Why should I go to jail? This slut won the lottery and refused to give me a penny. She watched her father live a difficult life without knowing how to help me. She was clearly unfilial, and it was her who should be imprisoned. What does it have to do with me? Lin Fu was on the brink of collapse, gritting his back teeth and wishing to kill Lin Qianhuan on the spot. She is my daughter, if it weren't for me having her. Her house and money belong to me. How can you police not distinguish right from wrong? Did this slut give you any benefits? You slandered me to protect her. Chapter 2. Come back now. You are listening at novel.Audio. The police were also shocked by Lin Fu's shamelessness and slammed the table, standing up. The crime of slandering the police is even worse. Lin Qianhuan was very satisfied with the result and watched as Lin Fu was handcuffed before she took steps to leave the police station. The sky is very blue, and there is no smell of decay unique to zombies in the air, let alone the sight of humans fighting and harming each other. The ground is clean and tidy, and the piercing cold winter wind brings the aroma of roasted sweet potatoes, making Lin Qianhuan constantly swallow saliva. After a zombie outbreak, ordinary survivors can only eat spoiled food, and a moldy and hairy bread will be looted by multiple people. She walked up and bought a steaming roasted sweet potato, squatting on the street and connected the familiar number to her heart. Hello. What's wrong, Juan? The voice from across the street was a bit tired, but the tone was filled with an indescribable joy. Remember to call Big Brother. I thought you had forgotten about me. Upon hearing the familiar voice, Lin Qianhuan's eyes became sour and tears welled up. After his mother's death, Lin Fu ignored his 3 children and, as the eldest, Lin Qianhuan supported his unstable home, working hard outside to provide for his younger siblings. But when the apocalypse came, he was discussing business outside the province, and Lin Qianhuan didn't even see him for the last time. Until today, Lin Qianhuan still remembers that phone call, with the roar of zombies and the sound of chewing on flesh and blood in her ears. Lin Qianhuan endured the pain and told her to live well. Suppressing her crying voice, Lin Qianhuan spoke anxiously, "Brother, you go home, come back now." Lin Qianhuan was a bit puzzled and said, "What happened? Did that beast come to you again for trouble?" He clenched his fist tightly, his veins bulging on the back of his hand. "I can't explain this matter sentence by sentence. Hurry up and go home, brother. I'll tell you when you get home, okay?" Lin Qianhuan is now standing on the street, and she cannot reveal a single word about the zombies. Anyone who is listened to by someone with a heart could face catastrophic consequences. Fortunately, Lin Qianhuan always responded to her every request and decisively agreed, starting to book tickets and pack his luggage. Hanging up his older brother's phone, Lin Qianhuan thought for a moment but didn't call his second brother Lin Wanqing. The eldest brother often goes on business trips, and the second brother stayed in Yunqing to take care of her. After he finished work, he would naturally be able to see her. The most important thing now is to build a sufficiently safe shelter and stockpile enough supplies for the survival of 3 people. After finishing the roasted sweet potatoes, Lin Qianhuan poured another bottle of mineral water and looked around, finding a shop owned by a real estate agent and walking in. As soon as he entered the door, a man in a black suit greeted him. He wore a pair of black framed glasses and politely greeted Lin Qianhuan. Lin Qianhuan went straight to the topic and said, "I want to rent a villa in the eastern suburbs and also need a nearby warehouse. Do you have any housing resources in your hands?" The agent immediately nodded and said, "Yes. Do you know about the Silver Bay Flower Garden in the eastern suburbs? The most upscale villa area in Yunqing has excellent environment and layout, ensuring your satisfaction. There are also large warehouses nearby. If you have time, can I take you to take a look now?" Lin Qianhuan nodded in agreement, and the 2 of them drove to the eastern suburbs. It has to be said that the environment of Yinwan Flower Garden is indeed good. Although it is located in the eastern suburbs, it is also the most upscale community in the entire Yunqing district. "Miss Lin, you see, the villa is fully decorated, but the original owner spent a lot of money on it. The furniture was customized for the whole house, and a fresh air system was installed. There was no mention of the details. The doors, windows, and tiles are all made of high-quality materials. If it weren't for the original owner's fear that the house won't be abandoned for a long time, they wouldn't have entrusted me to rent it out." The intermediary enthusiastically introduced, while Lin Qianhuan carefully examined the environment inside the house. "It's really good. If she really rents it out, she doesn't have to go through a lot of trouble renovating the interior furnishings. But the safety factor is definitely not high enough. The walls must be raised, and doors and windows must be replaced with top-level anti-theft materials to isolate zombies who eat people from the outside world. What is the price? Upon hearing this, the intermediary's eyes lit up and a hint of calculation flashed through them. 18,000 yuan per month, starting from half a year. Lin Qianhuan sneered and stood quietly watching him, with no anger or joy in her eyes. The intermediary's eyes were tingling as she looked at her, swallowing nervously and pulling at the corners of her mouth stiffly. Look at this layout, the lighting, and the interior decoration. Either one is considered top-notch in Yuncheng, she said. If you think the price is not quite suitable, how about we calculate it as 161,000 yuan per month for you? Lin Qianhuan raised her hand and fiddled with her well-trimmed nails, saying, 8,001 months, an extra point is not enough. As the end of the world approaches, she has so much to prepare that there is no need to waste too much money on the house. Money needs to be spent on the cutting edge, and the most important things are food, water, and gasoline weapons. The agent was taken aback by her words and paused before speaking. You can't bargain like that. Look at this decoration. I have seen it, but what if it is well decorated? This place is located in a remote area, very far from the subway station and airport, making travel very inconvenient. I specifically checked the map on my way here, and there aren't many large supermarkets around. Shopping takes a lot of effort on the way. Do you dare to ask me for 161,000 months just like this? Are you looking at me as young and easy to bully? If you can't accept this number, I'll leave. Anyway, you're not the only agent in Yuncheng, nor is this villa the only one. After speaking, Lin Qianhuan immediately turned around and left, and the agent gritted her teeth and quickly caught up. He deliberately increased the price because he saw Lin Qianhuan as young and naive, thinking she was easy to deceive. In addition, since the landlord is now abroad, can the price difference between them all fall into his pocket? Who would have thought that Lin Qianhuan wouldn't take his tricks at all, and even pushed the price so low? I definitely can't give you 8,000 yuan. Do you think 12,000 yuan per month is okay? 8,000. 11,000, do you think it's okay? This is already the lowest price I can negotiate for you. 8,000. 10,000 yuan per month. As for the rent, you can pay it directly every month. Do you think this is okay? Upon hearing this, Lin Qianhuan raised a brilliant smile and turned to shake hands with the agent. Deal, find me another nearby warehouse. I must complete all the procedures today. The agent wanted to cry without tears, so they had to take Lin Qianhuan to continue looking at the warehouse. The warehouse is not far from the villa, it only takes 15 minutes by car, and the space is large enough to hold enough supplies. Lin Qianhuan eventually rented the warehouse for 45,001 months, and both the warehouse and villa were paid once a month. She quickly signed a contract with the agent and obtained the keys to the villa and warehouse. Chapter 3. Binding the Lingquan System. You are listening at novel-full.audio. After finishing these, Lin Qianhuan immediately took a taxi to the largest wholesale market in Yuncheng. The Chinese New Year is still half a month away, and the market is filled with people who come to buy and store goods. Many people carry a lot of things in small packages. She was quite satisfied, so her hoarding of goods wouldn't appear too abrupt. Entering the largest grain and oil store, Lin Qianhuan was about to approach and greet the boss when she suddenly heard a loud noise coming from the street. The crowd was stacked in a circle, as if watching something novel, while others anxiously dialed the police number. Lin Qianhuan is not someone who likes to join in the fun. She had just turned her head and wanted to continue shopping when she suddenly heard words like rabies and crazy biting. In an instant, her pupils contracted and she squeezed into the crowd to the front. A man with a blue and purple skin is crazily biting a child at this moment. The child is stimulated by pain and fear, crying loudly, and the scene is chaotic. The man suddenly looked up and happened to meet Lin Qianhuan's gaze. He chewed on the bloody flesh in his mouth, his teeth sharp and sharp, his pupils pure black, and there was no trace of white. Lin Qianhuan froze in place, but before she could react, she heard the buzzing of the alarm bell. Soon, the police arrested the man, and an ambulance immediately came to pick up the little boy whose arm had been torn off. The police ordered all photographers to delete all videos and photos, ensuring that nothing was missed before driving away. The man trapped in the car still roared, leaving bloody palm prints on the car window. I see, the zombies did not suddenly erupt, but the government has intervened, and in order to avoid public panic, they did not spread this news. Since the government has not spread any news, it proves that they have confidence in controlling this disaster. But why did the zombie virus suddenly erupt uncontrollably on February 26? Lin Qianhuan pondered carefully and suddenly caught the key point. Rain. On February 25, there was a eerie red rain, but overnight, zombies sprouted up like mushrooms after the rain, and then invaded the human homeland. Do people who get soaked in the rain turn into zombies? Lin Qianhuan frowned with some confusion, but she was also drenched in the rain in her previous life. Why didn't she turn into a terrifying zombie and instead awaken her powers? Isn't red rain the only harm? She racked her brains, but did not come to any useful conclusions. Well, it's not too late to think about these issues in the future. The most important thing now is to hoard supplies, but the zombies have quietly hidden in the crowd, so she also needs to be vigilant. After the police left, the crowd dispersed and Lin Qianhuan walked into the grain and oil store to purchase supplies. What? How much do you want? The boss widened his eyes in surprise and scratched his head in disbelief. 3 tons of rice, 3 tons of white noodles, 20 boxes of each flavor of instant noodles, 100 barrels of soybean oil, peanut oil, and rapeseed oil each, 200 kilograms of various ingredients per sample, 10 boxes of sugar, 10 boxes of salt, 10 boxes of vinegar, soy sauce, oil consumption, and other seasonings per sample, 50 boxes of hot pot base. Lin Qianhuan repeated it again, the boss taking notes on paper with some hesitation, some unable to calm down. You bought so much, even if you were hoarding New Year's goods, it wouldn't be enough. Besides, things will spoil if left for a long time. Otherwise, you could buy less, and we don't have so much stock in our store in a short period of time. The boss is a bit distressed. Although Lin Qianhuan can be considered his god of wealth, he cannot deceive his customers. This girl looks like a young college student, probably without much common sense of life, and she doesn't know how much she buys. Lin Qianhuan hooked her lips and smiled, took the pen and wrote down her contact information and warehouse location under the order. I bought this New Year's goods for the employees of my company. It seems like the Chinese New Year is coming, so I need to send some things to everyone for the holiday. Could you please quickly transfer the goods and deliver them directly to this warehouse? If you have any questions, please call me directly. She knew that the things she had bought were enough for herself and her 2 brothers to use for a long time, and even expired, but that was something she couldn't do. To survive safely, having more resources is always better than having less resources. Furthermore, what is there in the post-apocalyptic world that has not expired? As long as it doesn't kill anyone, it's a good thing. Even if she and her brother spoil before they finish eating, they can take it out to trade with other survivors. Thinking of this, Lin Qianhuan sighed. Unfortunately, what she awakened in her previous life was a spiritual ability, not a spatial ability, and she couldn't store so much material. She can only rent a warehouse closer to the villa and store all the supplies inside, so that they can be picked up and used in a timely manner even if they are close to home. Lin Qianhuan took out her bank card to pay the deposit, but was suddenly bumped by a freight worker. Her wrist collided with the table, causing the jade bracelet on her wrist to crack and scatter on the ground. Lin Qianhuan also fell to the ground in an unstable state, with her subconscious hand supporting the ground pressing against the crack in the jade bracelet. Blood gushed out in an instant, soaking the fragments of the jade bracelet, and a wisp of white light passed away in an instant. Mom left her a bracelet. Lin Qianhuan wanted to pick up the debris on the ground with heartache, but suddenly heard a strange mechanical sound. Bound to Lingquan system, please choose whether to enter the space. She looked around in confusion, but only saw the panicked boss and workers. What is the situation? Is it a hallucination? The host did not respond and chose not to enter the space by default. May I ask if you accept the novice task and reward the warehouse with a reward of 1 after completion? Note: the time in the warehouse is stationary and there are no space restrictions. At this moment, Lin Qianhuan realized that she was not a hallucinator. The last relic left by her mother seemed to be an incredible treasure. I accept it. She responded in her heart. New player task now assigned. Please collect all the jade bracelet fragments from the host, without any omissions. After collection is completed, bury them in the soil of the space to make the Lingquan space vibrant. Lin Qianhuan blinked and looked at the blood-stained jade bracelet on the ground. Ignoring the pain in her palm, she carefully picked up the large fragments. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, I'm really sorry. The freight staff was frantically trying to help Lin Qianhuan up, their voices trembling as they apologized. Is this bracelet expensive? Can he still afford his salary? And this is a big customer, he won't be fired directly by the boss, will he? The boss also hurriedly welcomed Lin Qianhuan, and the two of them apologized frequently, causing her to feel dizzy. It's okay, I don't blame you, but can you help me get a broom? I want to collect all these fragments, not a little bit of them. Although Lin Qianhuan felt sorry for the bracelet, she was also grateful that she accidentally bound this spiritual spring system. I am worried that there is no place to store many of the items I bought, but the warehouse provided by this system can just help me solve a big problem. Chapter 4. Me and you going together. You are listening at novel.Audio. If it weren't for this freight employee's accidental collision causing the current situation, she might not have discovered the secret inside this bracelet until she died. The boss saw that Lin Qianhuan had no intention of investigating, so he quickly brought a broom and carefully helped her sweep the debris together. He did indeed sweep carefully, sweeping all the 2 meters around the fragments. However, the jade bracelet was mixed with dust, making it difficult to pick out the fragments. Lin Qianhuan didn't care and asked the boss to sweep up the jade bracelet and all the fine soil and pour them into a plastic bag. Anyway, the system requires the complete jade bracelet to be buried in the soil of the space, and it does not mean that other impurities cannot be mixed, as long as all the jade bracelets are collected. Rinsed the wound on her palm with clean water casually, Lin Qianhuan took out her bank card to pay a deposit, but was stopped by the boss. He spoke with a guilty expression on his face and said, I'm very sorry, Miss Lin. This is our fault, and I really feel uneasy not to compensate you. Okay, you don't need to give me the deposit anymore. As for the payment, I can offer you a further discount. Is that okay? Lin Qianhuan nodded and withdrew her bank card before heading to a fresh meat shop. The matter of burying jade bracelets will be discussed when she finishes buying things and returns home. It is most important to hoard supplies first, after all, the more zombies there are in the later stages, the greater the danger. The owner of the fresh meat shop was proficiently busy with a bone-picking knife, sweating proficiently even though it was winter. What do you want? I have chickens, ducks, cows, sheep, and pigs here, you can choose whatever you want. Lin Qianhuan pondered for a moment and said, let's have 2,000 pigs, 100 cows, 100 sheep, and 2,000 chickens and ducks each. You can help me handle them all and deliver them to this address. She handed over her contact information and address, and although the owner of the fresh meat shop was puzzled, he didn't ask much. Let me tell you first, you definitely have to wait for a while if you want so much. Our cattle and sheep slaughterers also take a lot of time, so we can't deliver it to you on the same day. Lin Qianhuan nodded to show understanding, I understand. I only have one requirement, which is to have something fresh. After you finish killing, keep it fresh and deliver it directly to this warehouse. It will be slaughtered on the same day and delivered until it is delivered. The boss nodded in agreement, and Lin Qianhuan also got up and left the market. After a busy day, the sun has already set and the market has quieted down, leaving only the sound of shop owners greeting each other and closing. Sitting in the taxi, she leaned against the window and rested with her eyes closed. The driver was on the phone with his daughter, and although he had greeted Lin Qianhuan in advance, he still lowered his voice. The little girl is not very old, her speech is soft and sweet, making her heart soft. Dad, Mom said it's Chinese New Year. Can Dad buy me a Barbie doll for the holiday? Dad, I miss you now. Can you go home quickly? The little girl acted coquettishly and sweetly, while the driver gently comforted him. The atmosphere inside the car was harmonious, and even a smile appeared on Lin Qianhuan's lips. If the end of the world hadn't arrived, it would have been great if zombies wouldn't erupt. This way, there won't be so many people who have lost their loved ones or been displaced, and there won't be so much pain and sorrow in the world anymore. After a while, the driver slowly stopped the car and gently woke up Lin Qianhuan. Hello, we have arrived at the place. Lin Qianhuan paid the money and pursed her lips before getting off the car, saying, "It's almost Chinese New Year. Store more New Year's goods and go home early to accompany the children." This is the only thing she can do. The driver happily waved at her and smiled with big white teeth, saying, "Okay, I wish you a happy New Year in advance." Lin Qianhuan turned around and left, returning home to find her second brother directing 2 workers to help her install the collapsed apartment door. Upon seeing her second brother, Lin Qianhuan ran up the stairs and threw herself into his arms. In the previous life, the second brother used his own flesh and blood to attract the attention of the zombie, helping her win the opportunity to escape. Seeing him standing completely in front of her, Lin Qianhuan couldn't control her emotions. Second brother. Her voice had a strong crying tone, which made Lin Qianhuan frown in pain and gently pat her thin back. "It's my second brother who's not good. I thought that beast couldn't find your place to live. I'm sorry, Huan. Install the door first, this place can no longer be used. Brother, we will find a house for you and we will move." Lin Qianhuan calmed her emotions for a moment, wiped away her tears, and shook her head. "I have already chosen a new house, and the contract has been signed," she said. Lin Qianhuan was a bit surprised, but also very supportive. "Okay, so that both my older brother and I can rest assured, but you also need to pay attention to safety when living alone." Lin Qianhuan looked at the workers who were installing the door, but did not speak. It was not until they finished installing and left that they brought Lin Qianhuan into the house and locked the door from the inside. "Brother, can I tell you when he will be home?" Lin Qianhuan heated a glass of milk for her and gently placed it in front of her, saying, "He came back by plane and arrived at the airport at 1 a.m. I'll go pick him up." Thinking of the zombies that could appear outside at any time, Lin Qianhuan couldn't help but feel a bit worried. "Second brother, let me go with you. It's safer this way. What's the danger for the 2 of us big men? It's too cold to go out in the early morning. Besides, you won't sleep in the beauty sleep." Lin Qianhuan pursed her lips and told Lin Qianhuan what she had seen and heard today. The other person couldn't help but feel a little scared after listening and said, "Man eats man. Why did you still come forward to see? Didn't you hurt yourself?" He looked at Lin Qianhuan anxiously and immediately noticed the wound in her palm. "What's going on? You were bitten by that person. Take my second brother, I must send him to the police station." Lin Qianhuan is in business, while Lin Qianhuan is a lawyer. Both have their own strengths, but their feelings for Lin Qianhuan are the same. Lin Qianhuan helplessly withdrew her hand, and her 2 brothers were like this. They both felt extremely sorry for the scratches on her body. When she was beaten when she was a child, these 2 people would protect her in front of her. No matter how hard Lin Fu beat her, they wouldn't take a step back. "I accidentally fell this, brother. It's not important, what's important is that the cannibal is no longer a human. He's a zombie, just the kind of monster in the movie. Lin Qianhuan looked straight at Lin Wansheng with great solemnity, who raised his hand to touch her forehead with some concern. What's going on? You have a fever. Lin Qianhuan rolled her eyes silently, knowing that her eldest and second brothers would never believe what she said. After all, which normal person would believe for no reason that there would be a zombie outbreak and cannibalism? Thinking of the Lingquan space she bound today, Lin Qianhuan tentatively murmured in her heart. Enter the space. The next moment, she disappeared into the old apartment and appeared in a dim and oppressive world. The thick black mist filled the surroundings, leaving no trace of vitality when looking around. Only endless darkness could be seen, as if it could devour all the light. No wonder the system will assign such a beginner task. Without doing this task, the space may not be usable at all. She took out a plastic bag from her down jacket pocket, dug a small hole in the damp soil with her bare hands, and poured the jade bracelet and soil debris into the hole. Chapter 5. A Scumbag Begging at His Door. You are listening at novel.full.audio. At the moment when the small pit was buried, dazzling white light came from all directions, breaking through the black mist and illuminating the dark and lifeless world. The damp and sticky soil under her feet grew tender green grass at a visible speed, and a red-topped warehouse appeared in front of Lin Qianhuan. The warehouse didn't look big, but when I opened the door and looked inside, it was a vast expanse of white with no visible edges. Congratulations to the host for completing the beginner task. Reward Warehouse X1. The mechanical sound rang again. The Lingquan space is only for the use of one host and no other humans are allowed to enter or exit. Live animals can be fed outside the warehouse, and only lifeless items can be placed inside the warehouse. Please collect crystal nuclei and unlock more space for surprises. Lin Qianhuan naturally knew what crystal nuclei were. Zombies with missing arms and legs were still able to crawl and hunt on the ground because the crystal nuclei in their minds provided the basic energy needed for these monsters to survive. To completely kill a zombie, one must cut off or destroy its brain, otherwise it will still survive in unimaginable ways. Closing the rolling shutter door of the warehouse, Lin Qianhuan began to carefully examine the situation outside. The ground emits a fresh fragrance of grass, and occasionally a gentle breeze blows, causing a rustling sound of friction. The area where she can move is only about 20 square meters, and the rest is shrouded in mist. To unlock it, she needs the crystal nucleus in the zombie's brain. Lin Qianhuan pondered the name of this system, which was called Lingquan system. Does it mean that there is a Lingquan in a place covered by white mist? What is the purpose of Lingquan? The system is waiting for her exploration. After roughly exploring the entire space, Lin Qianhuan silently left and then appeared in the real world. As she looked up, she saw her second brother looking at her in surprise, his chin almost falling to the ground. You were just. His voice trembled slightly, unable to understand this supernatural matter. Lin Qianhuan smiled and squinted her eyes, saying, I just entered space. You can understand it as my ability. Zombies erupted on February 26th, and there will be a blood shower on February 25th. Anyone who has come into contact with the rain may become a zombie or a psychic. Portable space is also one of the abilities. She couldn't explain the mystical aspects of the Lingquan system to her two brothers, so she simply used supernatural powers as an excuse. Lin Wansheng frowned and rubbed his sour chin before asking, but it's not yet February 25th. How did you awaken your powers without exposure to blood rain? Also, why do you know that there will be a blood rain on February 25th? What exactly is going on? Lin Qianhuan lowered her head, with a hint of sourness in her eyes. You may not believe it, but I have been reborn. In the previous life, Big Brother was far away from another province and couldn't come back. You were also zombied to protect me. After pausing for a moment, she spoke again, in the end, I was the only one left. Lin Fu came and took my house, took away my supplies, and even sold me to a group of animals for a pack of cigarettes. After I escaped, I started wandering alone. Later, I sought revenge on Lin Fu and other enemies, and after cutting them alive, I committed suicide. When I woke up, I returned to today. Lin Wanqing felt his hands tremble as he listened. Lin Qianhuan hurriedly took the hardships she had endured with a few words, but he was her own brother. How could he not know her suffering? Don't be afraid, Huan Huan. Both the eldest and second brothers will be guarding you this time and will definitely not let you live that kind of life again. Lin Wanqing forced a smile and gently rubbed Lin Qianhuan's head. I believe you, there is still 1 month left until the zombie outbreak. We must start preparing immediately. The 3 of us, siblings, know so much in advance and can definitely successfully avoid the risk. Lin Qianhuan wiped away the tears from the corner of her eyes and nodded heavily. Protecting her family is her only purpose in reviving her life. She has avenged everything she deserved in her previous life without any regrets. In this life, she only wants to live peacefully with her 2 brothers and not suffer from the separation of life and death. Lin Wanqing was about to discuss the next steps with Lin Qianhuan when the newly installed anti-theft door was suddenly knocked on. The person knocking on the door didn't put in any effort, and the thumping sound was enough to hear his impatience. Lin Wanqing had some doubts. Lin Fu, that animal, had already been imprisoned. It was already so late now, who would come knocking on the door? Lin Qianhuan stood up and walked to the door, looking out through the cat's eyes, then elicited a sarcastic smile. Outside the door is her boyfriend, Zhao Zhuqing. In her previous life, she couldn't recognize people clearly and never noticed him walking on 2 boats. She even foolishly distributed many of her supplies to him. Who would have thought that the real identity of his neighbor's sister was his beloved sister? 2 people were lying on top of Lin Qianhuan, sucking blood and relying solely on her to search for food and drink. Not only did she flirt behind her back, but she also mocked her as a stupid fool. In the end, they designed to push Lin Qianhuan into the group of corpses. If it weren't for Lin Qianhuan's strong mental strength, she would have become a pile of bones. The incident of Lin Qianhuan winning the lottery has caused a huge uproar in the entire Yuncheng and even the whole country. Although she refused to be interviewed by all media, it was inevitable that some malicious people secretly took photos. Although the pictures posted had her face coded, it was indeed easy for people familiar and close to her to recognize her. Lin Fu and Zhao Zhuqing often buy lottery tickets themselves, so they pay close attention to this news, otherwise they wouldn't have smelled the smell and came over so quickly. Lin Qianhuan was not at home all day today. I'm afraid Zhao Zhuqing had knocked on the door several times before she came back, right? Thinking of this, Lin Qianhuan's lips curved into a mocking smile. In this life, she is not as easy to deceive as in the previous one. Opening the door, she happened to face Zhao Zhuqing's angry and twisted face. He was stunned when he saw her open the door, and then changed into a gentle and elegant smile. Huan Huan, what did you do today? The house is so messy, I've been looking for you several times and you're not here. He was about to walk inside the door as he spoke, but was directly stopped by Lin Qianhuan. Is there anything I can say in front of the door? Did I let you into my house? She spoke rudely and leaned against the door frame, blocking his way. Zhao Zhuqing's anger surged in his heart, but he still endured it. He came today to ask for money and help Tian get bracelets, so he must not conflict with Lin Qianhuan. When he gets the money, it's not too late for him to kick this lowly woman away. He smiled softly and was about to hold Lin Qianhuan's hand, but she disgusted him and avoided him. Don't touch your manual feet, I think you're dirty. The smile on Zhao Zhuqing's face instantly solidified, and he took several deep breaths to barely maintain his false smile. Huan Huan, are you angry that I haven't talked to you these days? You also know that my family is not well off. In order to give you a better life, I work part-time outside every day to earn money. I am too tired and busy, so I couldn't contact you in a timely manner. Chapter 6. Vision needs improvement. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Zhao Zhuqing put on a sad posture and clenched his fist stubbornly, saying, I was tested in the mountains, and my family conditions are poor, so I can only put in 100 times and 1,000 times more effort than others. Everything I do is for you. Don't be petty with me, okay? Lin Qianhuan stood quietly in place, watching Zhao Zhuqing's hypocritical face. How could she not have noticed in her previous life that this man's acting skills were so poor? What does it mean to do it for me? I have never benefited you at all, don't you think that's ridiculous? She chuckled lightly and said, I don't give any gifts to my girlfriend during the Chinese New Year and even ask for living expenses with my palm facing up. What have you done for me? Zhao Zhuqing choked on Lin Qianhuan's words and stood in the same place, feeling somewhat helpless. Although he usually said these words, Lin Qianhuan had already come over with guilt and apologized. Why is this woman so difficult to deceive today? Although Zhao Zhuqing couldn't save face, he still refused to give up. That's a huge sum of 680 million yuan. If anyone can get 1/10 of it from Lin Qianhuan, he won't have to worry about his future life. Zhao Zhuqing gritted her teeth and forcefully pinched her thigh, squeezing out a few tears. Huan, I'm afraid you're worried, so I haven't told you before. My dad's health is not good, he was hospitalized last month, and the burden of the family now falls on me. My dad's medical expenses are astronomical, and my mom passed out because she was too worried. She is now lying in the hospital room unconscious. Both of them scraped their food from the soil, and I didn't have much savings to support my college education. The medical expenses were all raised through my loan, but it wasn't enough. I had to work day and night to make up for my family expenses. It's really my fault I haven't talked to you for so long, but my parents are seriously ill and I am their only son. How could I still have the heart to think about things beyond their bodies? As he spoke, his knees softened and he knelt directly in front of Lin Qianhuan, saying, I'm sorry, Huan. If you're really angry, you can hit and scold me, but I love you. Believe me, okay? Lin Qianhuan blinked and said, okay, I believe you, so can you leave now? Upon hearing these words, Zhao Zhuqing froze in place. Shouldn't Lin Qianhuan, this fool, ask him how much he needs for medical expenses and then kindly deposit the money into his account? What is the current situation with this incident? Why didn't this slut take the initiative to give him the money? Should he personally open his mouth and beg for her? How could you suddenly become so selfish and stingy? Zhao Zhuqing wanted to change her face and get angry in an instant, but she still suppressed her anger and softened her voice, saying, Huan, did you win 680 million yuan in the lottery? My family's situation is really bad now. Instead of seeking a bank loan, I might as well borrow your money, so that I won't give the interest to others in vain. Do you think so? The more he spoke, the more his smile grew. You're holding so much money in your hand. It's not a big deal to lend it to me for a while. As for the interest on that money, you definitely can't take it seriously. Otherwise, you can give me 5 million first and I'll give it back to you after my parents recover. Is that okay? Lin Qianhuan's eyes flickered with a mocking smile. What do you mean is that you don't want me to demand interest from you, and you don't intend to write me an IOU? Just ask me to give you 5 million, right? Zhao Zhuqing coughed lightly and couldn't help but feel a little uneasy on her face. We are the closest people, and we are going to get married in the future. Why are we separated so clearly? Aren't my parents your parents? Do you have the heart to watch them lying in the hospital bed without even the money for surgery? It's none of my business. Lin Qianhuan was about to close the door when Zhao Zhuqing became anxious. He stood up and stuck his hand in the crack of the door, but was suddenly pinched by the other party. A fierce howl sounded, and his hands were considered useless. Lin Qianhuan remained calm and kicked him away, then closed the thick anti-theft door. Returning home, Lin Qianhuan looked at her quietly with a approving smile on his face and said, "You did a good job, but your vision needs improvement. How can this kind of man deserve you? Don't worry, brother. I have already realized that I will never get involved with him again. The animosity of the previous life has been resolved, and she has no intention of entanglement with this group of people in this life. However, if they try to continue to use and harm her, she does not mind cutting them alive again." The siblings held paper and pens and wrote down one by one the supplies they needed to store in the apocalypse. Food is naturally essential, but there are also many things that must be hoarded. We need enough gasoline and sturdy off-road vehicles that can allow us to navigate smoothly in the apocalypse. Lin Qianhuan pointed at the words, gasoline, with her pen and said, "But this thing cannot be hoarded in large quantities. Even if you buy it, you have to travel a lot, which not only wastes time but also easily attracts others' attention." Lin Qianhuan hooked his lips and said, "I'll hand over the gasoline, modified cars, and weapons. I have a client who specializes in this area of business, so it shouldn't be difficult for him to help me." Lin Qianhuan's eyes lit up. Yes, second brother himself is a lawyer and is well known and has a wide network in Yuncheng. I know people from all walks of life, and some gray areas can also be accessed, which just solves a major problem today. Okay, besides preparing these things, it's also urgent to renovate the villa, but we definitely can't be busy today. Let's discuss together after receiving the big brother. Lin Qianhuan opened her phone and checked the time. The apartment was not close to the airport, so they should have left early to avoid any trouble on the way. The two of them stood up, and Lin Qianhuan packed all the useful bedding and daily necessities in the apartment into the space. Then, she opened the anti-theft door, but happened to meet an old lady with gray hair. The old lady was also startled, looking as if she was eavesdropping against the door. Lin Qianhuan frowned and looked up at her, her eyes filled with a faint cold light. "What's up?" She is not familiar with the neighbors in the apartment, and has not even said a word to this old lady, not knowing her purpose of coming. The old lady touched the dry white hair on her head and awkwardly tugged at her blue floral jacket. "Well, I heard you won the lottery. Can you lend our family some money? It's not too much, 1 million is enough. I want to buy a house for my son." Lin Qianhuan did not respond to her and turned around and went downstairs, with Lin Qianhuan following closely behind. The old lady trembled as she held onto the stairs and chased after her, saying, "You've earned so much money for nothing. What if you lend us 1 million? We are neighbors at least, why are you so inhumane? Are you not afraid of being punished by heaven, even though you have the ability not to help us?" Lin Qianhuan is too lazy to bother with this old lady. She doesn't have so much time to engage in verbal battles with these people. It's important to prepare for the upcoming apocalypse. Chapter 7. I believe your words. You are listening at novel-full.audio. She hurried to the parking lot, only to see a large group of people standing in front of Lin Qianhuan's car, each with a flattering smile on their faces, waiting for the arrival of the siblings like a guard. Lin Qianhuan took a step forward to protect Lin Qianhuan behind him. He knew that Lin Qianhuan's winning the lottery would bring some trouble, but he never expected this group of people to be so bold. "Although it's not a relative, I still shamelessly want to get a share of the pie." "Oh, this is Huan. I'm your aunt upstairs. We've even met in the hallway before. I'm on the first floor, and we've also had face-to-face meetings. And me, I'm from the 4th floor. The two of us said something yesterday. Did you forget?" A group of people were clamoring loudly, and Lin Qianhuan's face became colder and colder as she crossed the group and wanted to get on the car. But the car door was stopped by someone, and they clearly didn't want Lin Qianhuan to leave so easily. "My son wants to enroll in a tutoring class to improve his grades. Can you lend us 100,000 yuan? So, my girlfriend asked me for a dowry of 66,000 yuan, and I really can't come up with it. Can you lend me 500,000 yuan to get married?" My wife is giving birth soon and she wants to live in the top postpartum center in our city. Can you help us pay for it? The eyes of this group of people seemed to emit a sparkling green light in the dark night, like hungry wolves staring at Lin Qianhuan's fat and unwilling to let go. 680 million yuan, no matter how much a girl can spend, she can't finish it. What if she gives them tens of thousands of yuan? That money is just a small amount for her, but for them, it can solve a big problem in life. Lin Wansheng protected Lin Qianhuan behind him. Just as he was about to speak, a person standing in front of the car door began to twitch in pain, with a suppressed roar coming from his throat. The night was dark, and everyone's attention was drawn to the walking gold of Lin Qianhuan. No one paid attention to this eerie and twisted person. Lin Qianhuan pulled Lin Wansheng back a few steps. The person's mutation speed was very fast, and the zombie virus invaded his body at an extremely fast speed. Fang teeth and sharp nails grew instantly, and his skin became gray and decayed. Just give us the money, anyway you're so rich, give it to me. Ah! A fat and bloated man was asking for money when the next moment someone fiercely bit his throat. Blood spurted out and splattered on his neighbor, causing the crowd to immediately scream and flee, leaving only the recently mutated zombie and the obese man being bitten. Lin Qianhuan sighed and did not choose to call the police. Instead, she ran quickly into the car with Lin Wansheng. The sound of the car caught the attention of the newly mutated zombie, who suddenly got up from the still warm corpse and charged towards Lin Wansheng's car in a eerie and twisted posture. The sound of impact rang out, and blood-stained fingerprints hit the window glass of the driver's seat, with half of the bloody intestines hanging from the fangs. The car sped out of the area where the apartment building was located, and Lin Qianhuan sat in the passenger seat, without any ups and downs in her heart. However, a thin layer of sweat oozed from Lin Wansheng's forehead. Although he has seen the existence of such a guy in movies, there is still a world of difference between what he saw with his own eyes. That thing is. Lin Wansheng's voice was a bit hoarse, and the knuckles of his hands holding the steering wheel were also faintly white. It's just zombies, wandering corpses without thoughts, with only the most primitive desire for flesh and blood. Lin Qianhuan responded by saying that she was still somewhat tired after a busy day. This thing is sensitive to both sound and odor. When modifying a villa, be sure to install a sound insulation layer to be safer. Lin Wansheng nodded, unable to imagine how much suffering Lin Qianhuan had suffered in her previous life. There are cannibalistic monsters everywhere, unable to make a sound, and finding food has become particularly difficult. He is not afraid of death, but he is afraid that both himself and his elder brother will die. Lin Qianhuan lives alone in this world without anyone to take care of her. The car was driving on the quiet road, with its headlights dispelling the intense darkness and safely arriving at Yunqing Airport. Lin Qianhuan stood quietly by the roadside, dragging a suitcase, and only waved his hand to signal the familiar license plate to stop. Lin Qianhuan sat in the passenger seat feeling particularly excited. Before the car could stop steadily, she jumped down and crashed straight into her older brother's arms. In her previous life, she never saw her elder brother again until she died, and finally, she was able to fulfill her wish for a lifetime of rebirth. Don't be afraid of Huan Huan, Big Brother is back. Big Brother will make the decision for you. Lin Qianhuan was dusty and his hair was a bit messy, but he still reached out and gently patted Lin Qianhuan's back, carefully calming her emotions. This is his sister whom he raised in the palm of his hand since childhood, and he must not suffer any injustice. Stuff all your luggage into the trunk and drive 3 people to Inhuan. It was already late at night, and only the street lights were shining in the villa area, yet the luxurious decoration and good green environment could still be seen inside. I swiped my access card at the gate, and the security guard opened the door to release me. Lin Qianhuan sat in the back row, looking at the environment in the villa area and nodded in satisfaction. The rented house this time is good, with good security and no issues with the environment. It doesn't seem cramped or cramped. At this thought, his eyes suddenly darkened and he said, "Where's that bastard Lin Fu?" Lin Qianhuan proudly raised her chin and said, "I kicked you hard, and then you were caught and taken to squat." Lin Qianhuan gave a satisfied thumbs up and said, "Well done, but just squatting for half a month, it's still cheaper for him. But even if you win this time, you must not take it lightly. Lin Fu is a crazy person with no bottom line, and he will definitely not let you go. He will definitely use various methods to inquire about your new address." Lin Qianhuan nodded and said, "Don't worry, big brother. I haven't told anyone about this villa except you and my second brother. The neighbors around me don't know that I moved here. Even if Lin Fu goes back to the apartment to inquire, there won't be any gain." She didn't want to sow trouble for herself, nor did she have the heart to entangle with these people anymore, so she hid her whereabouts very well. Upon hearing Lin Qianhuan's words, Lin Qianhuan reluctantly breathed a sigh of relief. "Park the car in the garage, and the three of them will rest directly on the sofa after entering the villa." Lin Qianhuan once again demonstrated a great transformation into a living person, and after fully disclosing everything, Lin Qianhuan still couldn't come to his senses for a long time. Ability. Zombies. The apocalypse. People eat people. He can understand these words separately, but when combined, it makes him feel a bit overwhelmed. Although he felt unbelievable, Lin Qianhuan's abilities were indeed mystical, and the experiences he shared also made him feel heartbroken. "I believe what you say." Lin Qianhuan looked at Lin Qianhuan's slightly emaciated body with heartache and said, "Just tell your elder brother what to do. As long as we can protect you thoroughly, your second brother and I are willing to do anything." Lin Qianhuan took out a pen and paper and unfolded the list of supplies he and Lin Wanqing had written on the coffee table. "Our family has reunited, let's start distributing tasks now." Chapter 8. Not allowing tragedy to repeat. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Big Brother is responsible for supervising and following up on the renovation project of the villa. The wall should be raised to 5 meters, and the villa must be soundproofed, otherwise the sounds we make in our daily lives will attract the gaze of zombies. Doors and windows should also be the best and most sturdy. After the end of the world, we cannot turn on the air conditioning. The sound of the outdoor unit of the air conditioning will attract the attention of zombies, so the insulation layer should also be installed properly, so that they can live comfortably in both summer and winter. Lin Qianhuan turned her pen and looked at Lin Wanqing again. Second brother is responsible for hoarding gasoline. We need 5 modified off-road vehicles that can be rotated. As for weapons, the greater the killing power, the better. Lin Qianhuan and Lin Wanqing exchanged a glance and nodded heavily. As for me, I am responsible for preparing the necessary food, medicine, water, and other daily necessities for daily life. We three each fulfill our respective duties, but we must pay attention to the situation around us and immediately stay away from abnormal people. Lin Qianhuan raised her head, and the three of them met in gaze, their eyes particularly firm. In this life, they will never let tragedy repeat itself. The villa has 3 floors, with Lin Qianhuan living on the top floor and the second floor belonging to the 2 brothers. Seeing that it was already 3 a.m., they hurried back to their bedroom to rest after washing up. After all, they would be busy for the next month. After taking a shower and returning to her room, Lin Qianhuan still couldn't recover from the joy of rebirth. She wiped her wet hair, wrapped her bathrobe tightly, and increased the temperature of the air conditioning. Opening the video app on the phone, a twisted and rotten face of a zombie suddenly appeared on the screen. Within a few seconds, the video was taken down by the system due to bloody violence. Lin Qianhuan blinked. Although the zombie had not affected public life, it had appeared multiple times in the crowd and caused quite a stir. Despite the government's intentional control, there is still some information circulating online. She clicked on Weibo to search for terms such as zombies, cannibalism, and rabies, but strangely, everything was blank. Lin Qianhuan rubbed her sour eyes and had a slight prediction in her heart, but she didn't feel surprised. Once the occurrence of zombies becomes well-known, society will be in chaos and the whole country will be in turmoil. The consequences will be unbearable for everyone. The government will not stand idly by. They are making every effort to capture the mutated zombies that are scattered outside, but it seems like an invisible hand is always against them. The number of zombies is increasing instead of decreasing, making the top authorities extremely busy. Who could it be? Why did that blood rain appear? Lin Qianhuan lay in bed pondering for a long time, until she fell asleep without getting any clues. The next day, Lin Qianhuan woke up very early, and the two brothers had already prepared breakfast. They sat at the dining table discussing the matter of storing supplies and reinforcing the house. After Lin Qianhuan finished washing up, she went downstairs and handed the key to the warehouse to her elder brother. The second brother is going to find someone to buy gasoline and modify off-road vehicles, while she rents a car to continue stocking up. The eldest brother is supervising the work in the villa, which happens to be close to the warehouse. He can open the warehouse door in time for the workers to unload the goods. Someone will be delivering food and fresh meat and other supplies today. Big brother, please pay attention to your phone. After giving a warning, Lin Qianhuan drank the milk in front of her in one gulp, then picked up the car key and hurried out to the fruit and vegetable wholesale market. In the apocalyptic world, meat can replenish energy, but vegetables and fruits are also essential. Lin Qianhuan glanced at the booth and decided to add 2,000 pounds, all of which were sent to the warehouse in the eastern suburbs. Apples, oranges, strawberries, grapes, watermelons, durians, tomatoes, cucumbers, cabbage, broccoli, loofah, beans, all the types that Lin Qianhuan sees come to a large cart, with space and a warehouse in hand, so there is no need to worry about these things rotting and spoiling. After leaving the wholesale market for fruits and vegetables, she hurriedly drove to the wholesale market for daily necessities. Toilet paper, sanitary napkins, towels, wet wipes, toothbrushes, etc. are all essential items that need to be replaced frequently, so Lin Qianhuan bought more. After a thorough cleaning, she drove to the nearest clothing wholesale market. The water source of the apocalypse is too precious, and she is not sure if there will be water sources such as wells or streams in the space for replenishment in the future. The end of the world is approaching, and fighting zombies will naturally be a common occurrence. Your clothes will be stained with brain and zombie blood. If you don't change clothes in time, the smell will be strong. If you get injured and the zombie blood gets stained with the wound, then there is only one way to die. Lin Qianhuan went to the clothing wholesale market and bought all the clothes for spring, summer, autumn, and winter. The two brothers had similar body shapes, so buying them was not particularly difficult. Traveling through various wholesale markets in Yuncheng, Lin Qianhuan was busy from dawn to dusk, and finally drove wearily to the warehouse in the eastern suburbs. The warehouse was lit with orange lights, and Lin Qianhuan was sorting out the messy goods inside. When he saw the figure of Lin Qianhuan, he quickly welcomed her. "You're back, are you tired?" He didn't say much, and after leaving the warehouse, he kindly closed the roller shutter door and stood in front of it, watching the wind. Lin Qianhuan's ability is extraordinary, and she must avoid exposing her space before the end of the world. The goods in the warehouse are about to be piled up, with a dazzling variety. Various grains and fruits are piled up on the ground, and dozens of freezers are parked in the corner, inside which she places the fresh meat she ordered. Full of a sense of security, Lin Qianhuan collected all the supplies into the space before returning to the Silver Bay flower garden with her elder brother. Lin Wanqing returned earlier, currently holding a notebook on the sofa recording something. The three finally met and discussed today's work situation. Lin Qianhuan said, "I have already decided on the construction team for the villa. The walls have been raised, and the insulation and sound insulation layers have been reserved. I have already discussed with the construction team about the best materials for doors and windows, as well as surveillance cameras, power grids, solar panels, and water storage and purification equipment. The official construction will start tomorrow," Lin Wanqing said, I have already selected the off-road vehicles, and a total of 5 have been sent to the repair shop for modification. I have also found a way to purchase gasoline, and starting tomorrow, I will personally transport gasoline to the sales point every day to avoid attracting the attention of those people. The weapons are not very easy to deal with, and the control is too strict. We can only obtain some cold weapons such as daggers and machetes. I will try my best to negotiate with them and try to buy a self-defense gun for our Qianhuan. Lin Qianhuan said, I have already bought food, fruits and vegetables, daily necessities, shoes and clothing. Tomorrow, I will go buy medicine and some wilderness survival items so that I can respond promptly to any future events. I have already transferred the money to you. If it's not enough, just tell me again. 680 million is not a waste. Let's free up spending, as long as the things we buy are beneficial to us. Chapter 9. Welcoming a new host. You are listening at novel-full.audio. The three of them finished discussing today's progress, finished dinner with a smile, took a short night off, and then started hoarding supplies the next day. The daily necessities of grain and water have all been ordered, and Lin Qianhuan came to the pharmacy this time. After the arrival of the apocalypse, a pill of anti-inflammatory medicine is hard to find, which is enough to show the preciousness of the medicine. Lin Qianhuan did not intend to purchase drugs in large quantities at the same pharmacy, as it would attract the attention of others. Therefore, she expanded her purchasing range to nearby cities, where each pharmacy could always stock up on a considerable amount of drugs. Arriving at a pharmacy in the city center, Lin Qianhuan was about to start buying medicine when she saw a familiar figure. It's Jiang. Zhao Zhuqing's so-called neighbor sister is actually his secret girlfriend. Lin Qianhuan did not intend to have any communication with Jiang, but the other party was clearly interested in her and walked over with great strides. Sister Lin, why are you here too? Are you sick? Jiang had a cute and innocent baby face, and her watery eyes looked up and down at Lin Qianhuan, with their gaze fixed on her empty wrist. Where's your bracelet? Where has your bracelet gone? Jiang, who noticed the disappearance of the bracelet, panicked in an instant. She was about to grab Lin Qianhuan's wrist, but she pushed her away forcefully. She couldn't stabilize her figure and took a few steps back, almost falling. My bracelet is none of your business. If you don't go and flirt with your dear Zhao brother, why come to me? Lin Qianhuan frowned in disgust, bought some fever-reducing and anti-inflammatory drugs, and then had to settle the bill and leave. Jiang swallowed her saliva and sounded an alarm in her heart, but still raised a harmless smile and walked towards Lin Qianhuan. I'm just asking Sister Lin. Sister, don't be angry, okay? You injured Brother Zhuqing's hand last time, and he is still receiving treatment in the hospital. Aren't you going to visit him? Lin Qianhuan's eyes lit up and a smile instantly appeared on her face. Is it so serious? Tianjing's smile was tinged with a hint of contempt and ridicule. That's right, Lin Qianhuan loves Zhao Zhuqing so much, how could she give up on him so easily? Pretending to be disdainful on the face, didn't you eagerly come over to inquire about his recent condition when you heard that he was hospitalized? She sneered inwardly, but her face didn't show. A comminuted fracture of the finger bone, even if it's treated, his right hand is considered useless. Sister Lin, your behavior has constituted intentional harm, but Brother Zhuqing has never considered holding you accountable. He also told me to explain to you well that he still loves you and hopes there won't be any misunderstanding between the two of you. Lin Qianhuan stood on the side with medicine in her arms and said, Love me. He loves my money, right? I tell you too, don't provoke me repeatedly, otherwise I will definitely let you live, not, and die. The reason why Zhao Zhuqing didn't report to the police was just to make her feel guilty and soft-hearted through this sentiment, and the ultimate goal was still the huge sum of money in her hands. After all, no matter how much he compensates for a comminuted finger fracture, he can't compensate more than 1 million yuan. What he wants is much more than compensation. Chen Tianjing's heart was beating violently, and she instinctively felt something was wrong. Why did Lin Qianhuan say such deviant words when she was just a foolish romantic supporting actress in the book? Thinking of the novel she had read before traveling, Chen Tianjing clenched her fists tightly, her exquisite nail art embedded in her palm, and the pain instantly made her sober. Although that book is not yet complete, the content in the book is not wrong. Although Lin Qianhuan has changed, perhaps it's just a tough talk, not really giving up on Zhao Zhuqing. After all, Zhao Zhuqing is the male lead of the novel. According to the description in the introduction, although he was just a waste who had awakened to Earth-type abilities in the early stage, as the plot developed, he also awakened to Fire-type abilities and became the strongest superpower in China with his rare dual-type abilities. How could the male lead lack a woman who loves him wholeheartedly? Zhao Zhuqing was constantly surrounded by birds and swallows, while Lin Qianhuan was the stupidest one. Not only did she take care of Zhao Zhuqing with all her heart and effort, but she even loved her house and loved her daughter, treating her various beauties and confidantes kindly. How could such a woman break free from her predetermined fate and successfully break free from the constraints of the plot? Chen Tianjing swallowed her saliva and pondered the plot in the book. Lin Qianhuan's bracelet is a magical portable space, but this fool has never discovered it. Later, a new lover of Zhao Zhuqing fell in love with her jade bracelet and begged Zhao Zhuqing for help, but unexpectedly activated it with fresh blood, becoming the most powerful support around Zhao Zhuqing. And if she accidentally wears a book, she will definitely not easily give up this opportunity. She must first bind the jade bracelet to that woman, become the most valued woman around Zhao Zhuqing, and stand with him in the world. But Chen Tianjing overlooked one point, which is that the novel she has read is not yet complete. Until the latest chapter, Zhao Zhuqing remained an ordinary Earth-type superpower and had not yet awakened a Fire-type superpower as described in the introduction. But Lin Qianhuan, who followed Zhao Zhuqing wholeheartedly, personally cut him alive in the previous life and sent pieces of bloody fresh meat into the mouth of the zombie. The story is not yet finished, who will know everything that follows. Seeing Chen Tianjing standing in a daze, Lin Qianhuan turned around and left. Just as she sat inside the car window, she was slapped hard by someone. She turned her head and saw Chen Tianjing's anxious face, starting the car without any concern and rushing away. Chen Tianjing, who was sprayed with a mouthful of car exhaust, coughed several times and looked away at the van with some resentment, his eyes filled with surging murderous intent. No, she must make Zhao Zhuqing quickly obtain that huge wealth from Lin Qianhuan. As the end of the world approaches, they can use that money to hoard supplies, so that they can lead others by countless steps in the early stages of the end. As one of the heroes, she will also become the woman that Zhao Zhuqing values the most, which is the female lead of this book. Will she still have to choose from various delicacies, delicious luxury homes, and sports cars when the time comes? While refugees were struggling to survive in the midst of the corpses, she was probably having a party in a beautifully decorated villa, right? Anticipating her future happy life, Chen Tianjing couldn't help but be overjoyed. She happily bought a fruit basket and went to the hospital to visit Zhao Zhuqing. Trapped in a beautiful dream, she was completely unaware that everything in this world had deviated from its original trajectory. Zhao Zhuqing did not receive a penny from Lin Qianhuan, and his right hand was disabled. Even with his abilities, he would still be far behind others. The plot of the novel has long been invalidated, and this world is welcoming its new owner. Half a month of busy yet fulfilling days passed in the blink of an eye, and the sound of firecrackers during the spring festival echoed through the night sky. Everyone embarked on a journey back home, but danger lurked in the crowded waiting hall. Although the government has sent dedicated personnel to deal with those suddenly mutated zombies, the crowd is moving too fast and the virus is spreading more and more seriously. Many people have witnessed the terrifying scene of cannibalism with their own eyes. Zombies, cannibalism, and mutation have become sensitive words on the internet, but an inexplicable fear still spreads among the crowd, accompanied by the smell of fireworks spreading into households. Chapter 10. The world is chaotic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There is no trace of zombies found on major social media platforms, but everyone is not a fool and can detect some abnormalities to some extent. But most people don't believe that there will be so-called zombies appearing, and netizens who persuade people to hoard supplies for emergencies have also become objects of ridicule. Lin Qianhuan sat at the dining table eating New Year's Eve dinner, watching the online chaos without leaving a single comment in the comment section. She only wants to protect her family and doesn't feel capable of interfering in the lives of others. During the Chinese New Year, the supermarket stopped receiving customers, and the 3 people who had been busy for half a month finally had time to rest. The renovation of the villa has been basically completed, and Lin Qianhuan is willing to spend money. The construction team is also working hard, reducing the originally planned 1-month construction period by half. The wall has been raised to 5 meters, and a layer of power grid has been wrapped around the upper layer to block those with ulterior motives. After the end of the world, there will be no water or electricity supply, and the solar panels on the roof will provide them with basic living energy. The water storage equipment will collect rainwater as much as possible, filter and purify it, and then input it into the villa for 3 people to use. A circle of surveillance cameras has been installed around the villa, which can monitor the surrounding environment without blind spots. Both humans and zombies cannot hide their tracks, providing basic security for their safety. Huan, stop playing with your phone and come eat. Lin Qianhuan, the second brother, wore a pink pig apron and served the delicious food on the dining table. Here we go. Lin Qianhuan put down her phone and ran all the way to the restaurant, taking a strong sip at the dishes on the table. It's really delicious. Second brother's craftsmanship is the best. The dishes he cooks always match her taste. Wow, mapo tofu, eggplant with garlic, fermented meat with green peppers, cumin mutton, my second brother, what you make is all my favorite. She hurriedly stuffed a piece of lamb into her mouth and chewed it contentedly, letting the aroma jump on her taste buds. Lin Qianhuan brought a plate of dumplings in front of her, poured her a glass of orange juice, and then sat down and started chopping. This Chinese New Year will definitely accelerate the spread of zombie viruses. We have already stockpiled almost all our supplies. In the future, if it is not necessary, try not to go out. Even if you go out, you cannot go to crowded areas. Lin Qianhuan frowned and looked at the news in the company group, then pushed his phone to the center of the dining table. This is a video recorded by a company employee. A person on the train he took back home was infected with the virus, and no one survived in the carriage where the mutant was located. The video sound was broadcasted, with mournful screams mixed with gunshots, and a few faint screams of zombies could still be heard. The spread of zombie viruses is becoming increasingly widespread, and although the government is making every effort to control it, it is unable to curb the spread of videos and various rumors. But most people still hold a skeptical attitude. After all, no normal person would believe that the world they live in really has a zombie crisis. After watching the video on his phone, Lin Qianhuan frowned and looked at the law firm's communication group, where someone had posted many live videos. Nowadays, zombies appear too frequently, and it is difficult for the police to ensure that all the videos recorded by the onlookers are deleted. Therefore, many videos have been leaked and widely spread on chat apps. The world has become chaotic, we need to prepare in advance. Lin Qianhuan took a sip of orange juice and her delicate eyebrows instinctively furrowed. The turmoil in the previous life actually had premonitions, but at that time, like most people today, she did not take those videos seriously, so she was caught off guard by the blood rain. Second brother, we already have enough gasoline. When the end of the world comes, you can also go to the gas station to buy it for 0 yuan. Next, don't buy gasoline from those people anymore. Lin Qianhuan nodded and said, I think so too. I bought too many, and the seller has become suspicious. They have sent someone to inquire about the purpose of my gasoline purchase. The off-road vehicle has been fully modified and will now be parked in the warehouse in the eastern suburbs. When you have time, just put it in the space. After speaking, he mysteriously took out a metal suitcase and gently pushed it onto the table in front of Lin Qianhuan. This thing is not easy to buy. I begged them for a long time to get these. You just need to wear self-defense. Lin Qianhuan vaguely guessed what was inside the box. She opened it lightly and saw a delicate and small black pistol and 2 magazines inside. The gun is filled with bullets, and with the bullets in the magazine, there are a total of 24. These are enough to help Lin Qianhuan avoid many dangers. Thank you, second brother. She excitedly touched the cold pistol in her hand, then put all the guns and bullets in the space and placed them next to a series of cold weapons such as Tang Dao and machete. The abilities of psychics are always depleted in real combat, so cold weapons have become an essential weapon for everyone. She deliberately made her second brother stock up on many sharp knives, just in case of any unexpected need. After all, hot weapons are not easy to deal with in China. For ordinary people, having a handy cold weapon is already a very fortunate thing. The things I bought will be delivered to the warehouse in the eastern suburbs gradually in the next half-month. We don't need to travel too far in the future, just go straight to the front line between home and warehouse, which is safer. Lin Qianhuan has already purchased the approximate items needed, just sit and wait for the receipt. Because there was still space and open space in the grass, she specifically bought a few chickens and ducks to put in, so she didn't have to worry about the eggs she had hoarded being eaten one day. In order to avoid accidents, she also bought a lot of seeds for various fruits and vegetables. Although there is ample inventory, being fully prepared will never go wrong. Suddenly, the sound of fireworks exploding sounded, and various types of light spots were reflected into the house through the newly installed bulletproof glass. The Spring Festival Gala was playing on TV, with the sound of firecrackers and fireworks playing together. Blue Star welcomed the last Happy New Year. After finishing the New Year's Eve dinner, the sound of fireworks and firecrackers in various parts of Yunqing had not stopped. Lin Qianhuan was busy for a long time but also tired. After watching the party for a while, she returned to the 3rd floor. This floor is her own world, with a total of 4 rooms divided by her into a bedroom, study, gym, and vacant storage room. Lying on her soft big bed, Lin Qianhuan opened her WeChat account and saw over 99 unread messages, mostly sent by Zhao Zhuqing. At first, he was still coaxing Lin Qianhuan with gentle words, attempting to use so-called love to make her obediently hand over the money in her hand, but he did not receive any response. Seeing that Lin Qianhuan did not react, Zhao Zhuqing's patience was gradually depleted, gradually turning into a strange aura, and the last few became unsightly insults and threats. Lin Qianhuan sneered, but still did not give Zhao Zhuqing any response. Shijiao, Fenghuang Community. Zhao Zhuqing sat on the dilapidated wooden bed in the rented house, feeling helpless and furious. He held up his phone and wanted to smash it out to vent his anger, but in the end, he reluctantly withdrew his hand.